So today is Saturday, and on Saturdays I like to do album reviews for albums that I bring out to DJ with me, and an album that gets a fair bit of play at the bar is the Dandy Warhols Come Down. This is their 1997 Capitol Records release, their first major label album, second album total. Yeah, Dandy Warhols is a band from Portland. They got signed by Capitol Records, I guess, right after Everclear got signed. They had a lot of success with that band, and then they came here. And I don't know how well this album sold back then. I think it was one of those albums that kind of went under the radar. But it does have a lot of like definitive 90s singles on it for sure. A lot of Not If You Were the Last Junkie on Earth and Every Day Should Be a Holiday. But yeah, sometimes I'll play those songs, but I like to play Minnesota and like Boys Better and stuff. But this song has like the good aspect of this album is that it has had like kind of a heavy like retro neo psychedelic influence meets like Britpop arrangements. Not a lot of bands sounded like this back in the 90s, except for maybe like The Verve and like Oasis kind of had a similar sound to this a little, but yeah, there is some cool like creative aspect to this CD. A lot of like Lou Reed, Velvet Underground, like Neil Young influence on here, and I like those guys okay. I enjoy a lot of their music for sure, and a lot of, I guess the bad parts of this album is that, you know, it's an album that the singles kind of sound like filler compared to the more, you know, like I said, like the psychedelic parts, which are way more enjoyable to a guy like me, I guess. Like, there's nothing wrong with the singles. Like, they're very catchy and, you know, they stick in your head, but I don't know, they kind of strike me as like just filler on the album compared to like the really good songs. But there's also some really perhaps ill-advised, like really bad psych songs on here, like the song Green, and like, I don't know, the last third of the album, I guess, is probably my least favorite. I really like the first handful of songs on this album more than I do like the last handful of songs for sure. And another kind of detraction into getting about Dandy Warhols is they have this kind of like arrogant attitude about them. They have a very kind of like, you know, false sense of entitlement, they like to think of themselves as rock stars before they even turned into rock stars, like kind of, I don't know, pretentious, I guess, but they do have a bunch of good songs to them, though, despite, like, you can't really hate a band just because of its personality and how it thinks of itself, I guess. It has, like, you know, some aspects of the song, they do have, like, shoegaze influence and, like, country influence to them, too. The singer, Courtney Taylor says he likes to think this album is, like, if you got a 90s producer tripping balls to record a Byrds album from the band The Byrds, but I don't know what the hell that means. Songs in this album have been used in like Gap commercials and car commercials and like soundtracks for movies like Igby Goes Down and Good Will Hunting, and There's Something About Mary. It's been on like several 90s TV shows. Like it is kind of a definitive 90s album. It has a very 90s feel to it. But yeah, like it is pretty, it's a mixed bag affair for sure. I don't know, I think the major hang up on this album is that it's just maybe the song arrangements, like the song order, I mean, like the track order could have been like a little more thought out, because it gives the album, like it starts off with all this kind of cool psychedelic stuff that you can just kind of mellow out and chill out to. It has a couple of rockers, and then it just kicks into like pop singles, you know, it's like boom boom pop singles and another pop single, and then it goes back into like the chill out kind of weird, like it starts off all kind of sounding like retro and borderline experimental sounding, and then this goes into like the really overplayed singles right in the middle of the album. So I don't know, it's probably, the track order could have been a little more thought out, I think, but it's got pretty good production and stuff though. I don't know, if you're really into 90s and radio friendly songs, you probably get into this, and you probably wouldn't like the psychedelic parts that I enjoyed, but I don't know, like it's probably, I don't know, maybe it has something for everybody. I really don't know. Album artwork's kind of neat. Just has like pictures of the band just chilling out in this very yellow room. They're just sitting there looking around. They're not really up to anything. I think one's drinking wine. And then out here it just has like photo albums from them on tour. Them on the fans, you know, posing. Like these guys are pretty big fashionettas. Not that the music's overly fashionable to listen to, like I don't know, but it has been used in commercials for like Gap and stuff too, so I don't know. I really don't know anything about that, but yeah, it's got some pretty snotty lyrics on here too, but that doesn't really detract from the album because it kind of suits the music anyway. Like lyrics will be like, I'd rather be cool than loved, I'd rather be cool than smart, kind of like, it's got some like references to like Kim Deal, and, like, for the most part, like, there are aspects of the album that I really like I said, like the psychedelic kind of sounding rock pop aspects of the album were kind of cool, because they had these kind of drawn out and big fuzzy spacey sounding guitars that, you know, Courtney Taylor's like very whispered half sung voice kind of complements really well. But and the singles, you know, you can't hate a single for being catchy and radio friendly, because that's what it's supposed to be. Like, it is a major label album. Capitol Records, like, you know, they signed Everclear and a bunch of all these other like super accessible radio friendly bands, so at least they let these guys do their own thing aside from recording the singles, so that's kind of cool. But I don't know, if you're really into 90s and you like 90s rock and you don't have this album, you'd probably check it out, because you'd probably really like it, because it does have some very 90s moments on it for sure. Dandy Warhols Come Down, Capitol Records, 1997. It's alright.